So Scott is using multiple time frames here. So we can see we have a 2-minute, 5-minute, and 15-minute chart here. And so Scott wants to know when the SIM22 MACDBB indicator, when the MACD line, or when are they all sloping up together at the same time, across the 3 time frames, or when are they all sloping down together in agreement at the same time. So, and I think part of the confusion in Scott's question, and it's interesting, we actually had one or two other customers kind of asking about how does BloodHound relate, or how does BloodHound operate with multiple time frames on the same chart here. So I'm gonna try and answer 2 questions at the same time here. So let me go into my data series, and I need to change a few things here. We're gonna go to minute charts, and we're gonna put a 2-minute on there. There we go. And then, all right, I need another data series, and let's see, this is gonna be 5-minute. Yeah, 5-minute and 15-minute. Okay. All right, and add another RTY, and this time it's going to be a 15-minute chart. All right, so here's right. So we have 3 time frames here, and so we've had some confusion from customers thinking that BloodHound is somehow, while BloodHound is definitely a unique indicator that no one's seen together, but BloodHound is still an indicator, and so it's bound by the rules and framework that all indicators have to run in. So the confusion is that people are wondering, so when you add BloodHound to your chart and you've got 3 time frames, people are wondering, or people are thinking that somehow BloodHound is going to operate or interact with all 3 of these charts on this one chart. But no, that's not what indicators do. Right, so let's just take an example here. Let's say I want to throw an EMA on my chart, right? If I throw this EMA on the chart, I'm not going to get an EMA of the 15-minute, 5-minute, and 2-minute, right? Let's apply that. Right, so you can see my EMA was applied to the first time frame, which was the 2-minute chart, right? I'm not seeing an EMA of the 5-minute. I'm not seeing an EMA of the 15-minute, right? So with BloodHound, it's the same thing. When I put BloodHound on here, it's only gonna operate based on one of these time frames. And the way you determine which time frame it's going to operate on is you go to the input series, right? You see the data series right here, this data series section right here, right? And you look at the input series, and we can see it's a 2-minute chart, right? The input series is a 2-minute chart. So, and we can also see down here where BloodHound is running, right, in its own sub panel, we can see down here, BloodHound is running on a 2-minute chart. Right, so we can see that as a part of the label, it's a 2-minute chart there. And, so just like with the EMA, right, so the EMA is only running on the 2-minute chart. And so the 5-minute and 15-minute chart, those time frames are not going to affect the EMA. The EMA doesn't even know that the 5-minute and 15-minute exist on this chart. And so it's the same with BloodHound. BloodHound does not know that there's a 15-minute chart or a 5-minute chart on this, that there is a 5 or 15-minute chart on here. So BloodHound's not going to interact with those in any way. Right? So let me get rid of, and it doesn't matter. Let me get rid of the EMA here. So, And it doesn't matter where BloodHound's at, right? So I could have BloodHound somewhere in the middle, and still BloodHound is operating on the, we'll grab a line here, you know, BloodHound's operating on the 2-minute chart, you know, no matter where I put it on my chart, right? The panel location is just for visual purposes only of your chart. It has no effect on what time frames your indicator is running on there. So let's move this down here. There. Well, let's put this back down on the bottom like so. And let me load up today's workshop file again. So there you go. There's today's workshop file right here on the quick list, right? So you can see that you in the file menu, right? You have this little quick list of the last, I believe it's like the last 15 files or something like that. So anyways, let's load up today's workshop file. All right. And so going back to the multi-time frame, you know, kind of confusion here with BloodHound. So if you do want BloodHound to work with a 5-minute chart and a 15-minute chart as well, you have to add that to BloodHound internally, right? So these external charts have no bearing on your indicator at all. So if you want your indicator to work with multi-time frames, you have to set that up inside of that particular indicator. Okay. So if I want, to work with a 5-minute chart, then I will add a 5-minute chart inside of BloodHound. And let's go and add another chart here, right? So I'm using the chart button to add another chart or another time frame. And let's make this a 15-minute. All right. So there we go. So now I have the default time frame is the chart that BloodHound is loaded on. And if you remember, looking back here, right, BloodHound is running on this 2-minute chart, right? So the default time frame is the 2-minute chart that BloodHound is running on, right? Remember that was the input series. So here, let's go back to right. If we go back to our indicator list, what is the input series? Right, the input series is the 2-minute chart. So that input series is the default time frame, is the input series. So, right, and then we have a 5-minute, and then I added a 15-minute as well. All right. Now, last thing to do is you'll notice BloodHound will give us a little message here telling us we need to reload the chart. So that way NinjaTrader can load the 5 and 15-minute time frames into BloodHound. So let's reload the chart so we can get those time frames loaded in, and there we go. Now we're done. Okay, so that's kind of the precursor to building Scott's question here. So now we can move on to, I'm going to get rid of these racing stripes here. So give me just a moment. And there. So I'm just going to create a new logic template. There we go. And so that got rid of all the racing stripes here. All right, so we need to get the MACDBB indicator on the chart. So remember, the question is about, let's kind of go back to the original question here. Remember, the original question is getting a signal, right, getting an output when the slope of the MACD line, right, for the BB MACD indicator, when the slope of that MACD line for all 3 time frames are all sloping up together, or they are all sloping down together, right? So we want to determine when they're all correlated together. All right, so we need the, let's see, I believe it's a SIM 22 MACDBB gapless number 4. Yeah, so version 4. So that's the one, that's the indicator I have. And these SIM 22 indicators came from Big Mike's, or I'm sorry, Futures IO. So you can tell I'm an old timer here, still calling it Big Mike's. But yeah, the SIM22 indicators, they are uploaded onto Futures IO. So let's see here. Let's take a look where we can get these here. So if we go to Futures IO, there we go. So they're on this site here, and you can see you can go to the download section here and into NinjaTrader section, and let's see, NinjaTrader 8 indicators and more. There we go, in there. And so yeah, in here you can just do a search for let's see, what is it? You can do a search for, I'd probably just do a search for SIM22, or you can do a search for MACDBB, and hopefully, yeah, one of those should find it for you. All right, and keep in mind you do need to be logged in order to download it. You do need to be logged in here. So, but anyways, this is where the SIM22 indicators are coming from, is Futures IO. All right, so alternatively, if you have lizard indicators, you could use the BB MACD. No, I guess it is MACDBB. There you go. Or the AMA MACDBB lines as well. All right, so I think both those indicators are probably pretty darn close, pretty similar. All right, so that's where you can get the MACDBB indicators from. And let me just add a couple of these onto my chart. All right. Now I am changing the input series for these. All right. So I have one of the MACDBBs running on a 2-minute chart here. So we can see it's running on a 2-minute chart, right? The second one is running on the 5-minute chart, and the last one is running on the 15-minute chart. All right, let's apply that. All right, so this is what we're looking at, right? We're looking at the slope of the MACD line here, right? Which has the dots on it, the white line with the colored dots on it. So, all right, now that we have our chart set up, now we can go into BloodHound and start building. Let's see. All right, let's give this logic template a name here first. So let's see here. All right, so we're basically looking for when the MACDBB lines are synced, right? Let's see. So the first thing we want is a slope solver. Now, look, when we go to our solver nodes here, you'll see we don't see a list of all the solvers anymore. What we see is a list of existing nodes, default time frame, the 5-minute time frame, or 15-minute time frame, right? So we're seeing a list of time frames here now, right? And that's because our BloodHound template now has 3 different time frames. Right? So I switched over to the solver tab here. So let me go back to the logic tab, go back to our solver nodes. So I had to decide, do I want a slope solver from the default time frame, or do I want a slope solver on the 5-minute time frame? Or, you know, where do I want solvers from? Which time frame? So I'm going to start with the default time frame, right? And I'm going to grab a slope solver here, drop it in, connect it up. And let's give this a name here. All right, so we're just looking at the MACDBB slope. Pretty straightforward. And so now let's go to the input, and we're going to change the indicator to the MACDBB indicator here. And all right, so let's go into the SIM22 folder. And there you go, MACDBB. There's the MACDBB indicator. Let's add it down here. And what do we want? Oh, which one do we want here? There we go. I think we want the the MACD line. So remember, the MACD line plot is the one that I changed to white. So we can see the white line on our chart. So we'll use this MACD line in BloodHound as well. All right, and I'm expecting to see some results, but I'm not seeing anything. Let's see, let's reload the chart here. Well, let's take a look at the log file, see if there's any errors. Yeah, I'm not getting any results from this indicator in BloodHound. Well, so let's try something else. Indicator. Let's see. Well, let me try the MACDGL. I'm not sure what that is. Well, let's try the MACD dot. I'll try that plot there. And let's see if there's... Just kind of wondering if there's any settings in here that need to be adjusted. Oh, there we go. Interesting. All right. So, my guess is one of these settings was causing the indicator to crash internally when it's running inside of BloodHound. And let's see, which one was it here? Play cross sounds. Yeah, so apparently this play sound thing is causing an issue if you don't actually have the sound files. All right, so let me adjust things. Let me try the MACD line again here. So I'm going to switch back over to the MACD line and see if we get some results. Yeah, and it's still working. And just for good measure, I'm just going to reload the chart and make sure it's still working. Yeah. All right. Cool, it's still working. And all right, so I'm just pausing here because I'm noticing that I'm missing some data points here. In BloodHound, you see where I'm putting these little diamonds, return a little dot, right? There's gaps, and I'm trying to wonder what's going on here. And then I notice, well, if I look on my 2-minute chart, my 2-minute chart has gaps in it. And oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, there's gaps because of the 5-minute chart. So NinjaTrader is trying to synchronize the 5-minute chart with the 2-minute chart, and of course 5 is not divisible by 2. Okay, yeah. So there we go. Yeah, guys, you just gonna have to when you put multiple time frames on the same chart, you just got to be aware of all these various nuances, that are caused by NinjaTrader. So just be aware of that, guys. All right, so here we're in business now. So we have the slope of the MACDBB line here for the 2-minute chart. So we're getting there. Okay, so here's one of the slope solvers here, right? The MACDBB slope solver, right? And this is from the solvers tab here. Right, I can go to the logic tab, right? And here's that solver there. All right, so now so this is a solver on the default time frame, right? Which is the 2-minute chart. Right, let me go back to the solvers tab, right? So this is running on the default time frame, which remember is the 2-minute time frame. So now I need another slope solver for the 5-minute and the 15-minute time frame. And so there's a couple ways I can do this here. So the long way is I can go back to my solver nodes. I can go to the 5-minute time frame, and I can drop a new slope solver on the board, and I can set up that new slope solver, right? And then I can do it again. I can go to the 15-minute chart, 50-minute time frame, and I can drop a new slope solver on the workboard that's going to be running on the 15-minute time frame, right? So that's kind of the long way of doing it. So, one of the reasons, another reason why we have the solvers tab is for shortcuts, right? Obviously, you saw, the primary reason, or one of the main reasons why we have a solvers tab is so that we can add multiple time frames, right? We can add multiple chart time frames to our system. But another benefit is I can take this solver, this existing solver, I can make a copy of it, and then I can move it down onto the 5-minute time frame. So now we have a solver running on the 5-minute time frame, like so. And then I can make a copy of that one and move it down, and now I have a slope solver on all 3 of my time frames, like so. Right, so there you go. Nice little shortcut there. So now let's go back to the logic tab, right? Back to the logic board here. So now I need to add those other 2 slope solvers onto my workboard here, right? So let's go to the solver nodes. We're going to go to existing nodes, right? And we're going to go to the 5-minute time frame, right? And there it is. There's that slope solver. Drop it on the board, and you can see right there it says 5 minutes right on top of it. So we're going to do this again. Existing nodes. Go to the 15-minute time frame and drop this other slope solver on the board. And there we go. And there's the 15-minute time frame. So, all right. And now the last thing to do is go to the AND node. Connect them all up. And there we have it. So let's close this out. We'll expand this chart out and take a look. Yeah, so as we can see here, right, we have quite a few bars where that MACD line is sloping down here. And if we go to the 5-minute chart, right, we have quite a few bars where it's sloping down on the 5-minute chart. And if we go to the 15-minute, let's see, yeah, there we go. So we have quite a few bars on the 15-minute where the MACD line is sloping down, right? And where they all intersect, where they're all in agreement, BloodHound is giving us a short output, like so. All right, I think that's pretty much it.